How you doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I hope you have a good day.
Hope you have a better week.
I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole fucking year is spectacular.
Oh, you hope my year is spectacular?
Yeah.
You got something you want to say to me?
You got something you want to say?
What up, family? It's your boy Amaru, and we are here. We are back with the second semifinal of One Gotta Stage One Geek tournament. If you are new here, I have been doing a very long tournament to kind of figure out if you could choose one geek character to say out of all of them, who would you choose? And last week we hit our first semifinals, and between Obi-Wan Kenobi, Spock, Indiana Jones, and James Bond, and the first two characters to go into the finals are Obi-Wan Kenobi and Indiana Jones. But this week we got the other side of the bracket. We got DC represented, Marvel represented, Middle Earth represented, and the Wizarding World represented. Kind of just like how I have stands of all of those fandoms represented here with the crew. From none other than Apocaflix Movies. If you don't know these gentlemen, go subscribe to their channel. Go check them out. They have been gracious enough to let me on a couple of their reviews and shows. So I had to reach back out and ask all five of them to come on. And apparently, I maybe one of the first times in history that they're all on time. Even though we started at 7:05 and not 7, but that's fine. That is on time to me. So let's go over here. I'll let them explain their fandom if they want. They can give things away a little bit, maybe not, whatever. But it's the insider Gio, the most loud and rambunctious. No, I'm just kidding. Gio, how are you feeling today? How you think this is gonna go?
I am having one of those hangover lazy Sundays, but when you pitched this whole idea, I was like, okay, this is too good not to at least come in and wreak havoc. So I am doing pretty good. We'll see how this goes. It should be interesting. And was there anything else I was supposed to do? Or
No, just say what up. It's all good. We're getting ready to go.
What's up?
Next to him, has been on the show a couple times before, so he knows the deal. One, Mr. Jake Berlin. How you feeling, sir? How you feeling being on with your boys?
I'm good. They're all about to get crushed in this conversation. That's all I know. It's about to be an absolute bloodbath, just like the Niners are about to lose to the Chiefs. But I'll just say that for the two Niner fans on screen. Hey, Raiders won today, so I can be happy.
Hey,
that's all I gotta say. I can be happy today for once.
Save it, Jacob. Jacob,
Jacob,
your turn's coming up.
Look, I got to watch Tom Brady lose in person while the Commanders actually won a football game against Aaron Rodgers. So I'm feeling pretty happy today.
That's wild.
It's crazy, very crazy. Well, under him, one of two of my fellow Bay Area natives. At least he lives there. One, Mr. Jacob Bartley. Jacob, first time on the show. How you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited to do this. Thank you for having us. I am a huge fan of all of the properties we're talking today. So when you sent this list, it was not easy. It was definitely not easy. I spent a lot of time going back and forth. But I think I'm happy with my list. But yes, I'm excited to get started. And yeah, you've been on Apocaflix a few times now. We appreciate it. So glad to return the favor.
Thank you. We'll see if you're happy with if your crew's happy with it when you say what it is. Next to him, we'll see. Other Bay Area native. Also both fellow teachers as well. So love having y'all for that. One, Mr. Brian Evolacino. Brian, how you feeling? It is also your second time back. Maybe third. How you feeling?
Yeah, second or third. I don't know. Actually, good point. Doing good. Chilling. It's a nice day. I'm repping my Bears for you. So,
Go.
Nice.
Go.
Oh, yeah.
Really lost, but it's all right.
I know. Well,
that Marshawn Lynch interview was beautiful, though.
That was
Marshawn Lynch.
That made up for it. That was great.
Oh, All right, and then last but not least, I even though I'm not like the hugest fan of baseball, I'm crying a little bit with him with the Yankees on there because they're doing what they're doing. But anyway, happy to have him on. One Mr. Keith Barnes. Keith, how you feeling today? How you feeling about what we're about to do?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited, even though I'm furious.
Go away.
Commander Spock. Yeah, thank you. The Commander Spock did not make it through last week. I was disappointed. I'm extremely not disappointed. I'm angry. Angry. Spock.
Hey, very honestly, he went a lot farther than I thought he would. But hey.
Yeah. But no, this is gonna be fun. Like Jacob saying to me, I'm a huge fan of all four of these people. So as soon as I saw it, it's extremely tough. I don't know. I don't know which one. I nearly had to coin flip all of them.
Hey, that's the show. So I'm very happy this happened. And speaking of those four people, one more time, just in case you're just tuning in, we have four great characters in front of us: Hermione Granger, Bruce Wayne, or any version of Batman that you may see fit, Gandalf. And one person asked me, with Spider-Man, are we talking about Miles Morales or Peter Parker? And the answer is yes. Take that how you will. It's those four, and we can only choose one. And to get us started, to figure that out, is the person who actually asked that question, Gio. Gio, who is your number 4?
Well, this one was by far the easiest. First to go is Hermione Granger.
Oh,
she's
wow,
adorable. She's smart, whatnot, but she does not work without the other two, Ron Weasley and Harry Potter. And
that's absolutely right.
That is the falsest thing I've ever
heard.
That's my opinion. Okay.
Have you seen Harry Potter?
Harry Potter. Harry would
she's
be
not
dead
that interesting unless she's
Hermione.
given. She's not that interesting unless she's given the other two crap and whatnot. And,
oh my god!
But anyways, look. Bottom line is Emma Watson retired from acting, so let's retire Hermione. So she's the first.
Wow.
Harry Potter would have been dead 100 times over.
Facts.
If it wasn't for Hermione.
100 times. One of the most interesting, one of the most intelligent, one of the most fiercest women characters ever to be put on screen. Does anybody else besides me have Hermione at number 4 though?
Oh
no. Okay, it's just me. It's just me. I also have Hermione at number 4, while Gio does not know what he's talking about.
For the same reasons, right, Amaru? For the same reasons.
Not at all. No.
Then why is she number 4?
This is just circumstance. This is what this is. This is circumstance. Harry Potter is one of my favorite franchises. But as a character, she is extremely intelligent. The other two would have died without her. She has some of the greatest lines on her own. And yes, she is digging into them, but she has to dig into them because they're idiots.
Because they're idiots.
They're absolute idiots. But
wow.
Maybe one, she is a victim of not being around as long, possibly. But secondly, again, it's just I have an affinity for these characters in front of her, just a little bit more. So it's not that she's bad or useless or any of that. It's just she happens to be going up against 3 characters that are just a little bit above for me, and I would be really, really hurt if I had to choose to take them away before taking Hermione away. It's that simple for me. It's that simple.
I mean, maybe it's also because I'm Team Slytherin too, so there's maybe a little something there. So
well said, Amaru. Anyway. I think that just because a character is your number 4 doesn't mean that you have to say something negative about them necessarily, but you do have to give your reasonings as to why they're number 4. So I think that's where Gio was coming from.
Well, I don't know if that's where Gio was coming from because he had a whole bunch of other things. At least that's where
I didn't say anything
somebody
positive.
Has to be 4. Somebody has to be 4. So I had to do it. But you know what? It's all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it going. Somebody has to be 4 for Keith. So Keith, who had to be 4 for you?
Well, unfortunately, my number 4 is Spider-Man.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What do I say? Like I said, it was tough. This is a tough one. But what? So
Did you literally flip a coin?
yes,
I hope you did. Okay.
I
My
legit
God.
hope you flipped a coin.
Listen, I still had to justify it in my head. You know, like
Look, we could have these reactions to every character on this list.
And,
to be honest,
No, we can't. No, we can't.
yes, we can.
so we're talking about getting rid of any and everything that these people are in, right? Like all.
Yes.
This one made this especially tough because I love nearly all the Spider-Man video games that exist. Like they're all great. So and I'm like, Spider-Man's gotta go. But yeah, what I did was this is how I justified it. I looked at all the dumb stuff that Peter did in the last movie.
Oh, wow.
I said, you know what? It's gotta go. Did too much dumb stuff. He caused all this trouble. He ruined the world, ruined his own life. It's gotta go. He's gotta pay for that. Making these dumb decisions that
he did also give Edith away too.
And
Far From Home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can chalk that up to, we've talked about it a million times. I mean, he's a goofy
He's
kid.
literally the only teenager, guys. Like
in the world or just on this list? Because he's not the only teenager.
in like the major Avengers group, he is a teenager. Like, come on.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
come
exactly.
on.
And we were all teenagers. I have 3 of them in my house right now. They do dumb stuff. It doesn't go without
My point exactly.
All right. Well, one of
give
his
him leeway.
you got to give him leeway, but you also got to smack him a little bit and say, "Hey, that was dumb."
Oh, wait, you got to give him leeway. Yet I'm gonna rank him at the bottom. You're nuts.
Yes. Jake's angry about this fantasy football thing that we got to get into later. So he's got extra sauce behind his.
I'm just trying to help your team, Keith. That's all.
You know, Peter
Dang.
might be an idiot, but you know who is not an idiot? Miles Morales. And that means Miles is gone. And Miles
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not an idiot, at least not what I've seen.
Yeah,
So
Keith,
have
you
to
just
give him-
kicked out. You just kicked out Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse is gone. No longer a thing.
Oh, I didn't think about Spider-Verse. That's a good
Yup.
point.
Yup. Look what
Good
you
point.
did, Keith.
So are we making an audible on live stream right now?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
No,
not.
he
I
makes
think
these decisions.
selections
You gotta
are
pay him.
official.
Yeah.
I would say so.
No.
The votes are in.
I thought we get one.
No.
No.
Why are
no
you
one.
rethinking Hermione all of a sudden?
No, because this is our first time, so we should
Oh.
get good.
It's
Absolutely not.
semifinals. We can't.
Oh man. Okay. Well, does anybody else have some? No. Nobody else has Spider-Man at number 4. No, not even close. So you know what? Just let it go. Brian, what about you? Where are
I'm
you going?
shocked.
Who is your number 4?
I went with what I thought would be pretty unanimous. I went with Gandalf.
Why
I'm
would
not.
you think that would be unanimous?
Why? Why?
Only between you and Jake.
Exactly.
Well, you're not wrong. I'll be completely honest. I don't have ties to Lord of the Rings. I just don't. So for me, like it's just a me. Like I've seen each of them one time. So it's like, whereas I grew up with Batman, Spider-Man, and Hermione. So it's like that. I mean, flat out, that's just literally my reasoning. Gandalf, I've watched on a movie screen, 3 times ever?
Well, six if you've seen the Hobbit movies.
I haven't. So there's 3.
And more than likely 8 episodes if you believe that's actually Gandalf.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so-
hope it's not. I hope it's
It
not.
is.
I believe it is.
I hope it's not.
Wait, what?
Absolutely is. Never mind.
Go
Yeah.
watch Rings of Power
Nothing.
like last week. Yeah.
No, just tell me right here, right now.
No.
In front of
Watch
everyone.
Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings fan.
Good.
So that's purely my reasoning. I have
It's
no.
just easy.
Yeah.
Easy. The
Nope.
2 Jakes, Jake and Jacob, you are the last ones. Do either of you have Gandalf as your number 4?
All right, I don't know what I was talking crap. I also have Gandalf at number 4, but
Yeah,
Me
so-
too.
I have to
Me
choose
too.
somebody. I have to choose somebody, and yeah. So
But it's
Am I next?
Why
Ian
Gandalf?
McKellen.
Why?
It's the gray. It's the white. It's the,
I know. Look.
just pushing people out to do what they're
Here's the
supposed to
thing.
do.
You guys are
the
terrible.
way
people,
I
that's why.
approached this was
Terrible.
okay. We're eliminating these characters from existence in like pop culture history, right? So, Gandalf for me, like if this was a who's gonna win in a battle, Gandalf would defeat all of them by himself, like in a
Well,
battle. 100.
That's
he just
you can't
would.
really do a battle that way, but that's okay.
I'm just saying he would. So if we're doing who's the most powerful character, it's Gandalf. But for me, I took it as like significance to people around the world, how much impact these characters have.
Oh,
and I just had to go with. Look, Gandalf was the least of that for me, and that's why I had to go with Gandalf at number 4.
Around the world,
Middle Earth would have
Over
probably
Hermione?
exploded if Gandalf wasn't around. You know, and
I
I'm
know,
coming
but
from.
look,
I ranked
if
Gandalf
I
last.
said that about any of the other 3 characters, then you guys would all be looking at me crazy too. So it's a.
And we do
it's-
that usually.
You know,
are you talking about
it's tough.
impact on the world he lives in or the real world? Because Gandalf's been around for like 100 years almost, or 80 years. Whatever.
No, I know. I just mean like, you know, how they influence kids and, you know, people in our world, like how the characters have influenced our real world.
Jacob,
okay,
you
that's
He
cannot.
might be number 1 if that's the case. He could.
Jacob, you cannot tell me between me, you, and Ryan, there has not been one time where you've seen a teacher go, "You shall pass."
Yeah, I mean,
In
of
some
course,
classroom, somewhere.
I guarantee you, if at Jacob and I school, if you went around and polled 100 kids, maybe 5 of them would know who Gandalf is.
if
Maybe
that.
5, if that.
If
yeah.
that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I had to choose a number 4. I'm sorry, Gandalf. I love you, buddy, but you gotta go.
Yeah, he was the easiest character to pick for me, and it's not that the character's bad, or that
You're bad.
if you're bad. Yeah, maybe. So far, my list is better than yours, though, Keith. It very much like Brian. I just have out of all of the franchises and characters, I have the least ties to Gandalf. And you know, it's a difficult decision. You know, I struggled a little bit between my 4 and my 3, and you know, I kind of flipped a few things here and there, and I really dove into like, you know, the impact that the characters had, how long the character's been around, how good some of the products have been, etc. But for me, like, as much of an impact as Gandalf has when it comes to the story of Lord of the Rings, as like pop culture medium, I think he has the least amount of impact compared to the other 3. That's just in my opinion. Like, I think most of the time, the people that I talk to, they don't like Harry Potter. They like Hermione. Most people obviously love Batman. They love Spider-Man. Like, when you talk about Lord of the Rings, of course, Gandalf's in the conversation, but other characters are also in that conversation on top of him. You know, I think when it comes
There
to the
should
franchises,
not be anybody over Gandalf in this. That's why he's here.
but
over
but
everybody else.
No, I know, but like I've had like people love, you know, specific characters inside Lord of the Rings, but when it comes to these products with like Batman or Spider-Man, it's them, you know, and that's coming from my perspective. So, and I'm also not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I like the movies, but I'm not like a hardcore. So it's just least ties to the character, I think, is what the ultimate decision was.
Well, in terms of impact, though, the pop culture impact, like the creators of these other 3 were Lord of the Rings absolutely influenced all of them.
It's a good point.
Oh, for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
It was around before.
All of our pop culture, like the Lord of the Rings influenced Lucas, Stanley, everybody that's created all the stuff that we love. Like it was like one of the first big like viral pop culture things. It's, you know, but I mean, I totally get it. If you're not attached to those characters, I 100% get it.
Yeah, that it happens. It is what it is. So where we are now, me and Gio got rid of Hermione. However, Gio's reasoning was for some
insane.
I don't know why his reasoning didn't make sense. Mine did. It just was circumstance. Brian and the 2 Jakes, Jacob and Jake, got rid of Gandalf, and Keith somehow decided Spider-Man decided to need to be last, which I don't understand at all.
But there's only one character that wasn't a 4.
One character that wasn't at 4. Somebody agrees with you, Keith.
What?
John, sure.
John.
Fine.
I know.
Okay. Well, with that, I'll at least go to my number 3. And as much as I stand for him, I'm going to continue the conversation. Gandalf is also number 3 for me. He is. Gandalf is that dude. Lord of the Rings, he's number 1 for me. Point blank, period. But I grew up on comics before I grew up on anything else. 90s cartoons. these two in front of him had the best theme songs, the best animated, and just again, there was no way I could put Gandalf on top of them or over them. Thank you. In terms of Gandalf's impact, that you made me scared a little bit, sir.
That's okay.
Just a little bit. Hi, Rachel. Yes, it
Rachel.
is Eastern. But you didn't miss too much. Just the fours. You can go back and watch it. It's all right.
Someone already got a bloody nose, Rachel.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be Geo saying Hermione has no point in Harry
Rachel's
Potter.
gonna come for Geo's head. Rachel's gonna come for him.
Come on now.
If I could just do the replay and rewind it, then Rachel might yes.
But Amber, we both had Hermione at number 4, so
yes, but I didn't call
there's
her
like
useless.
some agreement there.
I didn't call her useless. I just said she's not over the other 3 for me. Just like for this one, Gandalf, one of my favorite characters ever, one of the most impactful characters to me in a series, in what they're in ever. They just yes, I'm sorry, Peter Jackson's doppelganger. Malcolm, I love you, but Gandalf is at number 3. 3 of them had it at 4, so go after them. But again,
Man.
it's just I feel I will say, even on top of that, I feel that even though he does have the gray and the white, and he has a lot of depth to him, I don't think not only does impact on my life, but not as much. It's really hard to be as in depth as a character as the other two. And it shows how hard it is when you have somebody like Gandalf who has the amount of depth, has 2 different versions of him, has a lot of his own faults, but is a leader anyway. So it was really tough. I'll tell you this. This was my coin flip. My 3 and my 2 was like Gandalf could have gotten number 2, but I ended up going with my gut and kept him at number 3. Does anybody else also have Gandalf at number 3? Gio, don't say no stupid shit this time, though, please.
No, all love to Sir Ian McKellen. Phenomenal performance in all of his appearances. But like some others in this panel right here, there's no personal connection for me more than the other 2 that we're going to get to. And also, in my point of view, I don't think the popularity is as big as with some other characters on this list. That's not to say that people who don't absolutely love Gandalf the character, that it makes them any less. I'm just talking about from a like global popularity, like especially today, right now. So yeah, nothing more can be said that hasn't already been said. So
Gio speaking the truth for once.
I will give you that one. That was better. Much better explanation.
Golf clap.
Sure. With that, we're gonna go over to Mr. Berlin. Jake.
Oh goodness.
Jake, who is your number 3?
I love this character to death, and this character might be when it comes to their franchise, I think most of the time with the movies, this character is my favorite. And that's Hermione. It a little bit comes with the fact that I'm not as connected to the Harry Potter franchise as I am with the other 2. I love the Harry Potter movies. I think the 8 movies are great, but I've never read one of the books. I think I read maybe 1 or 2 of them when I was a kid, but I don't really remember those. And so I'm not as connected to this franchise as a lot of people are. Like, I know a lot of major Harry Potter people, and this franchise is everything, and that's fair. But when it comes to these movies, like, she's my favorite character out of all of them. I think what Emma Watson does with that character is great. And yes, she is as useful as any character in any movie franchise in history. I'll just say that. I honestly, it wouldn't have ended up the way it did without her, like, without a doubt. I mean, the woman made her parents forget her. Spoilers. Like, who in their right mind actually has the power to do that, right? Like, just the absolute power to be able to be like, you know what? For the better, my parents have to forget who I am.
And it sucks that I wasn't able to put her higher. And if she makes it through, like, I'd be stoked because I love the character. But it really does come down to the fact that I think I have just a little bit more history with the other two. It has nothing to do with impact or likability or any of that, because to me, she is just as loved or important as the other two. It really is just like, to me, when I look at everything, it was kind of split down the middle. And it's so like basic for me and cliche, but you have the comic book franchises, and then you have like the Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. And I'm not as connected to those two as I am the other two. And it's a bummer because the characters are great, but it's just kind of how the cards play. So Hermione at number 3.
This even though I had her at 4, it brings a tear to my eye. And Rachel will be mad at us all. Does anybody else have Hermione also at number 3?
Unfortunately, yes.
Wow.
Good.
This one hurt me. This one hurt me because Hermione, also my favorite character in this world. She is the smartest and most capable person in this, well, at least in Hogwarts.
Among the students, right? Or
yes,
even within the adult, more than the adults.
Among the students and maybe some of the adults.
Some of the adults, a lot of the adults.
Some of the adults. She knows all the rules. She knows all the spells. And all 4 of these people are all nerds. She might be the biggest nerd among the 4. She knows all the rules. She knows all the spells. She had the time tuner. Listen, her impact goes as far ahead as the events of Cursed Child as well. Big impact there. Just, like we said, Harry would have died a million times if it wasn't for her. Honestly, I mean, and you can make a case that you could make the case that it's just as much her story as his, in terms of like being the hero. But a lot of it is just Harry is just, he wins all the time, or he's lucky because he's Harry Potter. But he's like, he gets by honestly because of her. A big part of it was because of her. And so but this was tough. Her impact, of course, and that lot agree with just about everything Jake said. And plus her impact on just little girls around the world who are reading these stories. I watched it, from the 90s all the way till literally today with my own kids. They love Hermione, my daughters, and a big fan of that character. And of course, obviously brought to life by Emma Watson. We watched all these kids, her and all these other castmates all grow up and become be these characters. So it would be tough to lose all of that, all the books and all the material that comes with it. But like I said, it was a coin flip. It was a tough cut, but I had to have her at number 3, unfortunately. So.
It is tough. It's always tough. So we have 2 gentlemen who are left. Let's see what happens with that. With Jacob. Jacob, your number.
All right. I am gonna get so much shit for this. My number 2 and number 3 are neck and neck, but I made a decision.
I know what
and like I said, I looked at this from Amaru. You said we're eliminating them from all mediums from existence.
Yes,
and like that's tough to do for any of these characters. But my number 3 is Batman.
Really?
I knew it.
Number 3
That's
is
shocking.
Batman.
Get out
That's
of
shocking. He arguably has the biggest medium out of any character in the history of everything.
I agree. No, that's fine.
You're taking
I'm
all that
saying,
away.
If what? Look, we have to take away. You are all choosing to eliminate 3 of these from the list, and so we're all making hard decisions. Okay, but
no, we're not.
Yes, we are. This is my argument, and my argument has more to do with who my number 2 is, to be honest. But
we know
I'm just look. I love Batman, and this is not a list of my favorite characters. I'm not ranking them in order of who I like the most.
You clearly are not a Batman fan. I'm taking you off all Batman videos going forward.
But I'll explain it a little bit in depth more. But I think the obviously Batman's probably the most popular out of all 4 of these. But if I were making this decision and I had to eliminate some, he would go at number 3.
You and I are in agreement for once in our life. This is insane.
And if would your list still be the same if Hermione were played by Amber Heard?
I mean, what? That's
have to do with it?
hold on. You mean Amber Heard specifically, or
confused.
any other actress?
Any other actress? That's about
Any other actress. I just threw out Amber Heard because I couldn't think of one that.
Yeah.
You thought of DC and you thought of Amber Heard. It's relatable. It's
There
No,
you
I
go.
mean yeah. I mean it has to do with the character, not necessarily the
Jacob.
person playing
Jacob,
them.
think of this.
Oh, it does?
Okay, and look, decisions are locked in, but you're taking away one of the longest, if not the longest, running comic book character ever with the Detective comics that started way back in the day. You're taking away all of these movies. You're taking away all of the Arkham games. You're taking away the TV shows. Like you're taking away everything.
Okay, you eliminated Gandalf from history, who was around way before.
Okay, but you're talking about in the Middle Earth world. Yes, he's been around for 100 years in our world, but it's book material and movies. Batman is literally in everything.
Okay, well, let me step up. Let me
Exactly.
come in to help
Exactly.
Jacob because I had Batman at 3
Exactly.
also.
Well,
So-
Brian, you suck.
Ah, you guys.
So, Jacob, I'm with you on that one.
Jeez.
Oh,
This is a sham. This
Yeah.
is an absolute sham.
Nobody dressing up as Hermione on Halloween.
Yes,
That
they
is
are.
everybody's
Stop it.
dressing up as
Yes,
everybody.
they are.
When
Stop
Harry
it.
It's like
Potter
a not
was-
too
over
costume.
Less
Spider-Man or
people are
Batman.
probably people are probably dressing as Gandalf. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Oh, there's plenty of Gandalfs in
Jesus.
downtown.
Jesus. This
Brian,
is
why do you also have Batman at number 3?
doesn't matter. It's not real. It's fake.
So, this I mean,
This is
number 4 was
ridiculous.
easy for me because I don't have any attachment to Gandalf. 1 through 3 is hard for me because those were arguably the best. You have 2 of the best superheroes to come across because they arguably both, those 2 have the best villains in comics. Spider-Man's probably got all the best Marvel villains. Batman's
Wow.
easily probably got the best DC villains. It's hard because I mean, I grew up liking the villains more than Batman. So it just kind of, I wasn't as attached to it as Geo would be to Batman. Yeah, I just at this, and I also looked at it as like at this point in my life, what have I gotten the most of? And that would be Batman right now. So like I kind of went off a little bit. Also, like at this point in my life, which of these do I want to see more of? And I've gotten a lot of Batman at this point. Like, and I have no doubt that there can be a lot more coming. But in that medium, I've gotten a lot of Batman. So, yeah.
Hey, that's where it is. And you know what? We're getting to everybody's top 2, so we can just pull the gloves off and get into this. But before we do, for all of you who are here, please go visit bitesizebreakdown.com. We have a lot of reviews who are coming up. A lot of our writers went to the Toronto International Film Festival. They are giving their day-to-day experience over there. Some articles about that, as well as our review for Rings of Power will be coming out soon. Just recently did one for She-Hulk, as well as Don't Worry, Darling, Triangle Sadness, and a whole bunch of other ones there. Subscribe to the channel, in addition, please subscribe to these gentlemen channel. Any of y'all just plug away real quick, since we have all 5 of you on here. What's coming up soon? What y'all got going on before we move on to the final 2?
Well, Tuesday is our Black Adam review, our big spoiler discussion for Black Adam. It's also going to be a full-on DC discussion because the Hollywood Reporter dropped all that stuff about DC and kind of what they're planning and some details about things that they have moving forward. We are obviously still doing Andor and the Mandalorian Club, which is every Wednesday night. We are reviewing the Star Wars show on Disney Plus. And we're also looking to do the Tales of the Jedi, which comes out this week. Reviews for those, maybe not each episode, but maybe arcs. There's only about 6 of them, and they're pretty short episodes. So we might do arc episode reactions, which you can see on the channel as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Black Adam. Ooh. But anyway, it's another conversation. Real quick, our top 2s, myself, Geo and Jake have the superheroes as our top two. No surprise there. Brian and Jacob both have Hermione and Spider-Man as their top two. And Keith, the lone person with Gandalf, but also has Batman. So going into the numbers, 3 of us saved Batman. 2 of us saved Spider-Man, and 1 of us saved Hermione. So since we have somebody on an island, before we go crazy, the one person who saved Hermione, please give us your spiel. Why is Hermione your number 1?
That would be me. I am
Go ahead.
saving the most powerful, smartest witch in all of the Harry Potter world. Listen, my attachment to Harry Potter is that Harry Potter was my childhood, even probably a little bit more than comic books. It's one of the only book series. I was not a book kid, but I religiously read those books. I mean, I remember for when book 7 came out, my dad had planned a vacation to Hawaii, and I told him I'm not going to Hawaii unless you can guarantee me I'm getting that book while we're on vacation. So like I have so many different memories attached to the Harry Potter wizarding world. She's not my favorite character, Snape.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I know.
I him on that one. I can't.
But listen, she is arguably the most powerful character in that series. I don't want to spoil like what comes after the 7th book, but like she continues to go on to be the most powerful witch in this century's magic, whatever you want to say. She is, like we said, the savior of the freaking characters in this book. How many times were they just sitting there on their hands like, I don't know what to do, and then she figures something out?
Yep.
So I mean,
almost every single time.
Nearly the whole time.
Honestly,
every single movie, it seemed like there was she was saving their butts. Yeah, I mean, she is arguably one of the most powerful female characters to come out of these mediums in the last, I don't even know how many years. But yeah,
I agree with absolutely everything you say. But nobody is better than a combination of Miles Morales and Peter Parker. Harry Potter was the first books I ever read, but my God, Spider-Man is the best ever. No one needs sad boy Bruce Wayne anymore.
Yeah, we'll be a little
he can go be
here.
sad boy somewhere else. I'm sorry.
Peter Parker, they're sad Peter Parker.
Yeah, they're both.
But Peter Parker is optimistic when he is sad. He always has that optimism. Okay. I am not including. If I lost Tobey Maguire's little punk ass, he could go. But the rest of them, I enjoy. I'm sorry. I love them to death. And to tell you the truth, I like Gandalf and Hermione more than Batman. It's just Batman's like just everything he has around him is the only reason he's number 2.
I agree.
But as characters, I would watch Gandalf and Hermione over Batman all day. If it was my favorite, Batman would be number 4. And that's why he's just 2, while Spider-Man is number 3. And as you can see, Jacob agrees with me. But Geo, the DC shill, Jake, and who I thought would make Spider-Man and Keith, also have Batman. Gentlemen, go at it. Why are, according to Andy, 4 of you wrong?
Wait, so are we?
Geo, no, you're talking about your number 1. Just
number
speak
1.
on Batman.
Number 1 and number 2 if you like.
Yeah.
I mean,
number 1 and
now,
number 2 if you like, just all of them.
First off, okay, like I'm Batman is one of the coolest catchphrases ever. It's also a character with over 80 years. I think it's 80, 84, 85 years at this point to this day of just history, you know, just TV, cartoons, you know, Adam West, Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, and then Batman for the next generation and the next generation after that. And there's so much untapped potential with Batman and his rogues gallery, who's, by the way, by far, well, no, sorry, not by far, but like, in my opinion, is the top rogues gallery. So by getting rid of Batman, you're getting rid of all of them as well. That's something that I cannot do for me personally. And so the history, the popularity, the what we've gotten so far in our lifetime, what we will be getting as, streaming services continue to grow, and there's other forms, whether it's audiobooks on Spotify. I mean, there is like just a gold mine of things that you could still do in regards to Batman. Yes, he clearly has issues, the character, very much so, but like, let's be honest, we love him kicking ass, solving crimes, and just trying to figure shit out. A lot of things that we can relate to as adults and whatnot. Um, living up to our parents' legacy, our family legacy. Finding purpose in life, delivering justice, and not going overboard to the point of no return. And so I think for myself, Batman is the clear number one. I get it. We have gotten a lot, but that's a testament to how much people love him in this world. They want more Batman, and so do I. He's my save.
But do we love him enough to give him churros? Will old women give him churros on the street? Look, if I never have to see pearls on the ground after a shooting again in my life, I would be very happy. Never again. I don't need any more of that. Also,
Same can be said about Uncle Ben's death. That's saying.
And they learned to stop doing that, even though both of them they
did with the last Batman as well. Just saying.
Yeah. After what, 4 times? 3,
Probably.
4 times?
They're learning.
Anyway,
They're learning.
Anyway.
We know DC's a little slower. We know it just
and not as good as recently shown by its latest installment.
Quality over quantity.
Look, I have Batman at number 1 as well, and I just think it was a difficult decision. It was the hardest decision out of the 4, just because Spider-Man is as iconic as Batman, in my opinion. He is what he has done, not just for the comic book space and the comic book movie space, but also the impact he has on teenagers. He is the only one. I mean, there's a bunch now, because obviously they go into a little bit of a younger generation eventually in comics and stuff, but he was the first of his kind to be this teenage superhero who impacted that generation as he did, and like able to kind of put hope and power into young teens who may not feel that when they're younger. It's a very specific thing that Spider-Man's able to do. At the same time, I don't think that there's anyone bigger than Batman in all medium spaces. Like, I just think that the character, as tiresome as the stories do get sometimes, speaking on just the movie part of it, and the flip-flopping on some aspects, when it comes to everything overall, he is the most iconic. He is the most overall. He is the most consistent. Comics, video games. He has the most movies. Obviously, they'll never stop making Batman movies. They're jumping into the TV realm now with not specific Batman stories, but Batman world stories. And I don't know if it's me on a high on it, but I thought the Batman from this year, it's my favorite Batman movie. I think that it just crushes the rest of them because it's a detective story. It's what Batman is. And for me, that just puts it over the top over everybody. I think, however we see the characters of Bruce Wayne and Batman and the portrayals and the different versions, I just think overall the character is the strongest and most consistent out of them all. So.
Nice. No, I wanted to talk about my number 2, because it kind of is why I had Batman at number 3. And look, like I said, this is not a list of who's my favorite character. It's just the way I listed it is what I said earlier. But Hermione Granger, look, you obviously Batman is more popular than Hermione. Like, there's no debating that, right? But to me, it's like if you consider like the impact that the novels had and the craze that had, and this is like what in the past, 2 decades, past 2.5 decades that Harry Potter has been around. So you have that craze, like it is just kind of getting started as a property in a way. It's been around for about 25 years. So the craze that Hermione and Harry Potter, the Wizarding World have had is kind of just getting started. It's still young. And to me, look, as as a male, fan of all this stuff, I have so many characters that I can relate to and look up to. Hermione Granger gave little girls a character that they can look up to and that they can see themselves in. So I just think her importance is being understated. And that's why I have Hermione at number 2. But you guys realize what I did by eliminating Batman. I also got rid of Harley Quinn from existence, which breaks my heart because she's probably my favorite character in everything. But yeah, that's why I chose Hermione over Batman. But of course, my number 1 is Spider-Man. Yeah, I had to go with Spidey. He's my.
Oh my God, are you serious?
In this sense, I did go with my favorite character of the 4.
The most obvious pick of them all.
But I just, in a similar way, I was talking about Hermione. I just think that Spider-Man represents kids, and he represents like, oh, we can be a part of this grand world. And I just think the awe and wonder of that is just so cool. And kids, I think kids always love Spider-Man. And I don't think that you can say the same. Like, kids don't always love Batman. I'll tell you that from firsthand experience. Like, I ask, like, the kids at my school, right? When Spider-Man No Way Home come out, clamoring over it. Every single kid saw it. The Batman comes out, like, they're not even interested. And I'm not saying I agree with them.
Different
but that's just the state of things. But so I'm going with Spider-Man, number 1.
Also, Miles Morales is Black and Hispanic like me. It's another reason why he went over that. Keith, you're the last one. Keith, you did have Batman, but you also had Gandalf at number 2. And Gio, feel free to jump in on Spider-Man being your number 2. Don't worry about that as well. But
Sure.
why do you have those 2 as your top 2?
Well, I'll start with Batman. Although I will say, what you just said about kids always loving Spider-Man. I mean, you did allude to it, but you can make the exact same case about Hermione Granger. And I think,
true.
Listen, yes, I think the gap of popularity is not as wide as you guys might think around the world. Okay, as far as the Harry Potter characters, but especially with her, because I mean it's massive. You guys know that. But I mean it's massive, especially with a character like that. Especially her impact on fans around the world. So, but as far as Batman though, listen, this goes back as far as 1989. Obviously, I was 10 years old. I mean, and I say it to you guys all the time. I can't state enough how massive that was. The Batman resurgence at that time was. I was aware of it when I was younger as a child, but it was Super Friends, and it was a little bit more kiddie stuff when I was a kid. And of course, obviously the Adam West series. But even then, I didn't really get into that until I knew the '89 movie was coming. I was too young for the Dark Knight Returns, so I didn't read that then. I read that when I was in high school a few years later. But the '89 Batman up until now, Batman's been that's my guy. He's my number 1 comic book character. He always has been. And so to lose all of that, I couldn't get rid of all of that stuff. Not to mention, Gio mentioned his villains, his antagonists. The dynamic between the Shakespearean dynamic between him and the Joker, we couldn't lose that, right? I think the only thing for me that rivals that is the dynamic between Professor X and Magneto, which is another thing that also fascinates me.
Point.
But the back and forth between the two, like the push and pull between those two characters, is so fascinating. And no matter what, whether it's comics or even in the movies, or even in animation, it's amazing. The animated series with Mark Hamill. I mean, it's so well done with those two. I mean,
Bruce
so if you
Timm.
lose the Batman, you couldn't lose. They had to lose the Joker, and I couldn't live with that. Honestly, when it came down to having to get rid of, like, or trying to figure out who to save, it's like, well, it's got to be Batman. Although it was close having Gandalf at number 2, which really hurt, because Gandalf is always dropping the jewels. You know, like he's got such great. I mean, for a character who's been around for so long, Tolkien being a linguist to me, it's just a brilliant. It's understating what a brilliant writer he was, but brought to life, of course, by Ian McKellen. And the thing that really made it close for me, you know, he has this line where Frodo's just like, God, he says, I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had ever happened. And Gandalf says to him, so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All you have to decide with the time that's given to you. And that has always been, I've literally, for 20 years since that movie came out, that has always been one of my mission statements. You know, I love that line. Love all the knowledge that Gandalf is always dropping on the world. So that's why I was so close. But it had to be Batman. I had to save him. He had to be.
Message.
Yes. Gio, give us your final thoughts. You did have Spidey at number 2, but wrap this up for yourself. Final thoughts on the list, on your 1, your 2, and this list in general.
Yeah, guys, look, okay, I know DC shill, borderline cultists and whatnot, but like it was pretty tough to, you know, go back and forth between Batman and Spider-Man, because you have characters like Miles Morales, because I think about the 90s animated show on Fox, and I think about the Spider-Man video games, and of course, you know, for myself, there was that little MTV Spider-Man that only ran for 1 season in the early 2000s. Like all of it, you just love Spider-Man. And you know, I talked about Batman's Rogues Gallery. Well, Spider-Man is like right there behind him, right there at number 2. And but you know, for myself, it's just more of a personal preference, I guess, is what it comes down to. Because I'm not going to argue that, you know, Batman is more popular than Spider-Man in today's world. I think there was definitely that time, in my opinion, but that has, in the last 15 years, has gotten very, very close to where it's right there, neck and neck, 1A and 1B. Pick your choice. But at the end of the day, I am a DC guy. I go more towards those darker stories, and it's part of the reason why I loved The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, so much, because of how dark it was. But you know, for me, it's Batman. So I got. Are we recapping our list, or
just any final thoughts you have on anything else? If that was it, then then that was it. If not,
yeah. Hey, look, and hey, like I appreciate Hermione Granger. Okay, I do.
Now you do.
You know, she you know, she can kick ass. She can. And you know, I would love to see them do something with the Hermione character in either live action, a movie spinoff, or a streaming. You know, it doesn't have to be Emma Watson. Maybe somewhere way down the line. You know, give us more with that character other than what's already in the books. You know, find ways to branch out, but not milk it or oversaturate it, if that makes sense.
Well, Brian, you were the sole person to have Hermione. Give us your final thoughts on the list in general, and what we've talked about tonight.
I mean, I sent you my list at like 1 a.m. my time, because I still couldn't decide. So, like, honestly, for me, anyone other than Gandalf is fine. Like, if I'm being completely honest.
Shut up.
So,
Damn.
Shots fired.
So, I mean, yeah.
Love that picture.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, lovely. Jacob, it's your first time on. How did you feel about the list? You also had Hermione too, but you were with me with Spider-Man 1 to give you your final thoughts on the list as a whole.
Yeah, man. I mean, this was hard because, like, don't get me wrong. I love Batman. He's my second favorite superhero. I love Gandalf as well. I love all these things. It's all love. But, you're going to force me to choose things that I love, choose against things that I love. I got to make hard decisions. And I'm cool with my list. Spider-Man, Hermione, Batman, Gandalf. But like I said, number 2 and 3 are neck and neck. It's that was the one I struggled with the most. I knew Spider-Man was number 1. I knew Gandalf was number 4. I was trying to figure out those in-betweens. So it was fun. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, I feel you on that, though. I had Hermione at number 4. But Mr. Berlin, Jake, give us your final thoughts on the list as a whole. You also did have Spider-Man at number 2, but final thoughts on tonight.
It ended up exactly how I thought it would, which makes it a win for me. So
Lovely way to wrap that up. So as you saw, everybody, as we mentioned already, Brian did save Hermione. Myself and Jacob saved Spider-Man, and then Gio, Keith, and Jake saved Batman. And before we get into who actually moves on to the final, a couple of lists from the chat. We got one, Malcolm actually having Batman all the way down at number 4 with Hermione 3, which really surprised me. Gandalf 2 and Spider-Man 1. Brian had basically the same list as me: Spider-Man, Batman, Gandalf, then Hermione. John has Batman overall with Hermione in last place. Hermione's not getting as much love as she should, but it's okay. Also, Spider-Man, Gandalf, Batman, and Hermione.
One last thing. I feel like Malcolm should be changing his name if he didn't have Gandalf at 1. I'm just saying.
He should. I don't need the Peter Jackson moniker might need to go away. But we are here because it is a tournament. It is a semifinal. So not only did the 6 of us put in our list, but I also put out a fan vote over numerous, which means just 3 social media platforms. And with that, the fans saved Batman number 1, Spider-Man number 2, and Hermione did get number 3. Sorry, Gandalf. With that. So the way it goes...
That's a win.
Yes. Sophie's choice, as always, is if you get a first place vote out of these 7, the 6 of us in the fan votes, you get 5 points. A second place vote is 3, and a third place vote is 1. And the top 2 point getters will move on to the final to go up against Indiana Jones and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So with that, Gandalf didn't go goose egg. We've had a couple characters go goose egg in this tournament. Came out with 5 with a lot of those going, keep giving him those strong 3 points. Hermione ended up with 11 points, 1 save, 1 almost save, and 3 third place. Batman
Damn.
got 25 points with 4 first place, and we're pretty sure about knowing the other one who's going through is Spider-Man, but just to see who got the most points, did those second places save get him that first place vote? It did not, because it only went to 22. But with that, the winner's moving forward. So we have our final 4 in our One Geek character tournament. We've been doing this since about March, and we need to figure out the one character to save between Batman, Spider-Man,
no question,
Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Indiana Jones. That is what we will be doing in our final episode of this One Geek character tournament. Peter Jackson did say he struggled, but still, there you go. But anyway, I'd like to thank you all one last time, the Apocaflix crew. Please make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Go subscribe to the gentlemen, all on the social medias. The link to their YouTube and their socials are below, both individually and as a crew. Make sure you like, share this video, comment below. Who would you have saved if you weren't able to go along with us live? And again, thank you all, gentlemen, one last time. I really appreciate it.
This was fun.
Thank you, Rue.
Thank you.
Such a fun one.
Absolutely.
But with that, for Bitesize Breakdown and the Apocaflix crew, we are out of here.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point
in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.